Hi guys, welcome to another video. This comes in sequence of the hybrid racing short shifter, and today we're going to be installing Smells Like Petrol. Roll the intro. So as I said in the intro, today we're going to be installing something related with petrol. So a long time ago, after speaking with some of my mates, bloody ducks. So after speaking with some of my mates that run high power NA cars, they recommend to upgrade my fuel pump. It's not because they usually go wrong, it's just because when you put in new injectors and like the RDX and stuff like that, you really want to upgrade the fuel pump, so you're not maxing up the fuel pump. I don't see many FN2 owners doing this, and even people with turbo builds and stuff, they say that the fuel pump is good enough. But if I can get this a bit more performance from the fuel pump, at least I know it's one less thing that can go wrong when mapping this. So let me show you what I got. So this is a AEM fuel pump. Again, I think it's common in most of Hondas, Subarus and stuff like that. I think it's the same design. So the reference is here. Yeah, I mean, hopefully it will be straightforward. So for those who don't know, the fuel tank is situated right below the front passenger seat, so there and here. The pump is located here, so there's loads of wiring in the way. So there's a clip here that's easy to remove, and then there's some screws here. You can see there's a total of 4 that will remove the lead. I believe that the handbrake is going to be in the way when we remove the lead, so I might have to take the slack and remove those 2 bolts there. So to remove these you need a 12mm socket. Okay, with the handbrake out of the way, then we can jump to remove these screws. Just be super careful that you don't drop this. As I've mentioned, you don't want to drop anything in the fuel tank. So before removing the lead, make sure that you remove the actual screws and there's no dirt or anything. So ideally you should just blow this with some compressed air. So do you know when you start a job, then you start thinking, I came all this way to do this, why don't I take this opportunity to do something even further? And then there's another job that you add to your list. So whilst I was taking everything apart for the fuel pump, I decided it's going to probably be easier if I remove the seats and then I can give it a proper clean. So that's what I've done. So I'll remove the 2 front seats. I'll probably remove the rear ones. Excuse me, it's so dirty. I haven't cleaned it for ages now. So remove the seats. I mean, it's just like some covers, 4 bolts, and then disconnect the airbag sensors, which is alright-ish. But to be honest, what I was more interested in is I'll get much more access to here. Although there's some wires in the way, but it's not going to be as difficult as it was before. So yeah, I'm just gonna give it this a little bit of clean, though I don't want any of this dirt to go inside the fuel tank. And yeah, then we're just gonna crack on with that. I mean, that's free already, so I'm just gonna have to pry that out. And yeah, I kept all the bolts in the same place just to make sure that I don't forget where they come from. But yeah, it looks like a mess right now. Well, I wonder how much it weighs now. But yeah, let's crack on with the other stuff. So just give you guys an idea of where we are. So obviously this is the lead, these are the connectors. What we're going to do is to disconnect, if I can show you that one here. I don't know if I can do it with that one hand, maybe not, it's very tight. Oh yeah, I did it. So that can be on the side, and probably we want this on this one to this side as well. So this one, if you stretch it a little bit. Alright, so here we go. So what we're gonna have to do is to remove these fuel lines and then pull out the fuel pump. I forgot to mention that, and I'll put this in the intro, before starting this job I would recommend to disconnect your battery, mainly because if there's any like short circuit or something like that, you don't want to be messing with the fuel. Alright, so that's the lines all disconnected. This one will bring some fuel back. So what I would recommend to do is, before disconnecting these, just open your fuel tank lids, and just remove some of the back pressure. So if there's any build up with air or something like that, you won't, the lines will basically not go back, or the fuel will not go back. So yeah, release some pressure off the tank first and then crack on with this. I had a small spillage there, not much, but it's enough to stink. So yeah, so what we need to do next is to remove this, which I've been told is a pain. So I need to find a way to remove this as it is, because not in the best location. Right guys, so we managed to remove the filter, or whatever you want to call it, the holder. It's not, I mean, not too bad to be honest with this, just a few clips, plugs, and then off it goes. But we got an issue. I don't know if you can see here, but this pump is a little bit, or the AEM one is a little bit longer than the stock one, which shouldn't be a problem, but it is, because you need to use this kind of base holder to clip it in. Let me show you what I mean. You can see here, so the way this clips is this push the pump up, and obviously because the pump is longer it doesn't fit here. So I got two options. I either modified this thing, I mean sanding or filing a little bit of this off, and hope for the best. The other option is, which I'm not very keen, is to use their system, which I've tried and doesn't actually work very well, which is using this rubber and this plug, but there's going to be a bit of movement there. And when you got a fuel pump, you really don't want to cover the motor, because it basically is going to overheat, and the petrol actually cools down the pump, because this is submerged in the tank, so it's full of petrol. So yeah, I'm debating what to do with this setup. Hey ho, they said that it was plug and play. Obviously, it's not.
Several days later.
Hi guys, welcome again in a different day. Actually, it's been almost 2 weeks since I've started this job. took me far more time than I expected, mainly because it was not a plug-in play job. I didn't film I didn't film everything, to be honest, because I was getting frustrating at some point. I actually left it in the bench and just came back to it like a few days later. The pump itself is bigger. That means that when you had to put the pump inside of the case, which is the filter, it wouldn't fit, so you couldn't actually close the filter or the case that goes inside of the tank. So just be aware, it's not a plug-in play fitting, and there's a few things that you're gonna have to do. One of them, which I'm not very proud, but it works, is functional, is using cable ties. So you won't be able to click the lid where the filter is back in, so you're gonna have to secure it with some cable ties, and that's the only way you can keep it safe. And you also gonna have to trim a little bit inside so you can actually close the case. So yeah, not the best, and to be honest I'm a bit disappointed that I had to do it this way, but nevertheless I think it should work. I've used quite a lot of cable ties and I've just juggled it around to see if there was any problem with that. I mean, obviously when doing hard turns there's a bit more vibration and stuff like that, so just making sure that the pump will not fall down completely. So yeah, so AEM pump. If you think it's going to be an easy job, it's not. So actually I don't advise you to do this, or if you do that, it's at your own risk. I already purged the pump, but I'm just going to show you guys what I've done and what you should do if you get this pump. And again, unless you plan to do this, I don't recommend it, because it's not a great job, to be honest. It wasn't for me. So unless you get like a completely different filter case where you can allocate that bigger pump, don't do it. So basically what you want to do is shoot a circle and do this like various times. Okay, you're gonna still listen to some air bubbles, but that's normal because this is a high flow, high pressure pump. So as long as it's not doing this all the time and it's just this little bit of a sound, is fine. The other thing you need to do is to make sure there's no leaks whatsoever. And once you've done this, at least I'll recommend to do this at least 10 cycles, to be honest, just to make sure. Once that's done, then check for any leaks whatsoever, and if there's no leaks, then just start the car. It's gonna be a bit loud, 3-inch live, but yeah, so there's no leaks, the car is running fine. AFRs, I mean, this is warm up, so it's fine. But yeah, so that's the fuel pump install. Obviously we need to put everything back together, but to be honest, it's the reverse procedure. And to be honest, I'm gonna take this opportunity to give the car a good clean. I might just film it, and I think it's a good thing to do, mainly to check if there's any rust in the boot and just see the condition of the carpet, if there's any fungus or something like that. But that's another video. Right, my final review about this pump. Well, performance wise I'm expecting much better performance. I'm going to be updating my injector as well to the RDX 410. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to upgrade the pump. So would I recommend to install this pump? So if you're running an light modded car, if you're not planning to go big, full send, turbo, supercharge, or cams, or working the head, don't do it. Stock pump is more than enough. This was like a Black Friday deal from previous year, and I just went for it because yeah, my other mates also had this setup, so he told me it was plug and play. I don't recommend it to do it because the changes I've done to the actually cup can't be reversed now. So if I want to put the OEM pump, I'm gonna have to buy the whole assembly, which is a bit expensive, to be honest. You can see that I'm not 100% happy with this because I like to do things properly. I don't like to cut corners, and cable ties for me is not a good solution. But although one of my friends that he race and tracks this car says that welcome to racing, because every single race car they use cable ties for this or for that, so get used to it. And that's the plan with the FN, to be honest. I think we're gonna be racing next year. Well, when I say racing, I'm not actually racing, but we're gonna do a few track days. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed it, please consider to subscribe it. I think we are now 600, so I'm very humble about having 600 guys potentially watching me, Portuguese guy in Portugal modding his FN with his rubbish English. And just leave a comment below if you ever done this mod to your car, and if you like it, just leave your like. I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye bye.